By paying close attention not only to what people say, but also to how they say it, their language pattern and sentence structure, you can figure out what's really going on inside their head. To demonstrate how this works, we begin with a quick and painless grammar lesson. A personal pronoun, in the grammatical sense, is associated with a certain individual or group of individuals. It can be subjective, objective, or possessive, depending on usage. Grammatically speaking, when discussing a person or persons, there are three separate perspectives. First person, that is, I, me, my, and mine or we, us, our, and ours. Second person, that is, you, your, and yours. And third person, that is, he, him, and his, she, her, and hers, and they, them, and theirs. On the surface, it might seem as if pronouns simply replace nouns, so that people don't have to repeat the same words over and over again. John lost John's wallet somewhere in John's house is not exactly an elegant sentence. John lost his wallet somewhere in his house just sounds better. But from a psycholinguistic standpoint, pronouns can reveal whether someone is trying to distance or altogether separate himself from his words. In much the same way that an unsophisticated liar might look away from you because eye contact increases intimacy, and a person who is lying often feels a degree of guilt, a person making an untrue statement often seeks to subconsciously distance himself from his own words. The personal pronouns, for example, I, me, mine, and my, indicate that a person is committed to and confident about his statement. Omitting personal pronouns from the action may signal someone's reluctance to accept ownership of his words. Let's take the everyday example of giving a compliment. A woman who believes what she's saying is more likely to use a personal pronoun. For instance, I really liked your presentation, or I loved what you said in the meeting. However, a person offering insincere flattery might choose to say, nice presentation, or looks like you did a lot of research. In the second case, she has removed herself from the equation entirely. Those in law enforcement are well acquainted with this principle and recognize when people are filing a false report about their car being stolen because they typically refer to it as the car or that car and not my car or our car. Of course, you can't gauge a person's honesty by a single sentence, but it's the first clue. A distant second. Even when a personal pronoun is present, a switch from active to passive voice may signify a lack of sincerity. The active voice is stronger and more directly interactive, revealing that the subject, the person or the people, in our examples, performs the action of the verb in the sentence. With the passive voice, the subject is acted upon by some other entity. For example, I gave her the pen is in active voice, while the pen was given to her by me uses passive voice. Notice the shift in phrasing and how it subtly decreases the speaker's personal responsibility. To wit, let's say that two siblings are playing and the younger one starts to cry. Most of the time, when mom or dad asks what's going on, the reason the child is crying, as stated by the other child, is because he fell, she got hurt, or he banged his head. A child rarely says, I did action A that caused consequence B. Indeed, it's unusual for a child, the egocentric beings that they are, to assume responsibility and declare, I pushed him into the wall and he hit his head, or I should have been more careful when she climbed on my back. Let's look at this in another context. In a study titled Words That Cost You the Job Interview, Researchers assessed the interview language of hundreds of thousands of real-life job candidates. Based on language patterns alone, they successfully divided these candidates into low and high performers. Here's what they found. 1. High performer answers contain roughly 60% more first-person pronouns. For example, I, me, we. 2. Low performer answers contain about 400% more second-person pronouns. For example, you, your. And 3. Low performer answers contain about 90% more third-person pronouns. For example, he, she, they.